Today we're gonna drink Saint Laurent, which is a light summery red. So we're gonna make eggplant caramelle, which is a stuffed pasta with tomato confit made with tomatoes from the garden. So we're gonna make a ricotta and eggplant filling for our pasta. And the shape is called caramelle, which means it basically looks like a cute little candy wrapper. So first thing we'll do is roast our eggplant. And we're gonna end up pureeing this basically so it can be pretty rough. Toss some salt on here and then drizzle some olive oil. Okay, we'll roast this in a 350-degree oven until it's totally tender. Now we're going to confit our tomatoes. So the first thing to do is peel them, and we'll do that by first coring the top and then marking a little X in the bottom of each tomato. And after we've done that, we will blanch them quickly in boiling water. Okay, so these we'll just put in here for a few seconds. You just want the skins to be released, but we don't want to cook them at all. So here you can see it's already starting to peel off a little bit, so that's the perfect time to pull them. And you want to shock them in ice water to stop all the cooking. So now to peel the tomato, you can start at the bottom where you've scored that little X. That helps with the peeling process. And just pull back with your paring knife and it should come off pretty easily. Okay, here's our beautiful tomatoes. So now we're gonna get them in the oil. First we're gonna thinly slice a few cloves of garlic and put those in the bottom of the pan. We'll throw a few sprigs of basil down here in the bottom too, and this will all just help permeate the tomato and give it a good flavor. And now we can arrange these all cord side down. Squeeze them all in here. Season these pretty generously with salt. Now we'll add enough olive oil for it to go about 3/4 of the way up the tomato. So depending on your size of pan, here it's gonna be like a cup and a half. Okay, now we'll throw this here in our oven, still at 350. So for this pasta, we're gonna make a green dough just to spice it up a little bit. So to do that, first we will separate our egg yolks and blend them up with a little bit of parsley. So this is about 3/4 of a cup of egg yolks. We'll add about a tablespoon or so of parsley and blend it, and we can see what color we get. Add a little more. So here's our pretty green egg. Let's check in on our eggplant and our tomatoes. This eggplant looks great. I think that's done, so we can set it aside and let it cool. And then let's see what our tomatoes are doing. We're gonna wanna baste them periodically to make sure the tops are getting cooked too and don't dry out. To make our pasta, we are going to combine 1.5 cups of 00 flour with 1/2 cup of semolina. Now I'll just combine these flours and the salt and then pour it out onto our board. And make a well in the middle to pour the egg into. Just slowly start incorporating the flour into the egg. Okay, so now that we've incorporated all the yolk, just kind of bringing it together into like a cohesive ball. And some of these little scrappy bits I'm just gonna kick aside, because this is feeling like a good hydration level where it's mostly one thing and not too dry. Now we can wrap this in plastic and leave the dough to hydrate and kind of relax. And then in the meantime, we can finish making our filling. For the filling, we have our eggplant here. I'm just gonna remove the skins and then chop these up as fine as I can, basically to a mash. I think I'm only gonna use about half of this for now. A little over half. You can set the rest of this aside and maybe add it in once we have our ricotta in there. But I can smell our tomatoes and they smell great, so let's check those. Yum! All right, so we can tell if they're done. This took about 40 minutes and I'm poking them with a knife and it's fully tender. You want to catch them though before it goes too far because you don't want them to break down. So here's our ricotta. I'm gonna add, let's say about half a cup. And then we'll taste it and we can always add more of either of these things. So the ricotta, some salt, and then fresh cracked black pepper. Well, that's not very cute, but it's gonna be great. Now we're gonna add a little bit of Parmesan, because that's always a good idea. This pasta is sort of a take on pasta alla norma, which is a Sicilian pasta that has tomato sauce, roasted eggplant, mint, basil, and ricotta salata. So we're sort of just making a stuffed version of that. All right, there's our filling. Now we get to get rolling. Here's our beautiful pasta. So now we'll cut it down into smaller pieces and start rolling it out. Maybe we'll do quarters. So I'm gonna use the KitchenAid attachment here just to make it a little easier. On the biggest setting. And then we'll fold it in half, rotate it, and put it back there. So I'm gonna roll it a little thinner. Okay, I think this is a good thickness. Yeah. So now we'll cut these into little tiles. Now we just put a little bit of filling in here in the middle, but on like the bottom of the flat edge. I'm gonna get the edges here wet a little bit with a little water. This will help the pasta stick to itself when we're rolling it. And then you just roll this way, make sure all the filling stays in. Pinch the edges and twist. And then we'll trim our sides a little. And there you have it. Caramelle. Flour. Last thing you want is for them to stick at this point. Now let's cook some pasta. I'm gonna drop maybe one portion. Salty water, super salty, salty like the sea. Those will take, I wanna say 2 minutes to bake because to boil, because they're rolled over on top of themselves and like pinched, those spots will take a little bit longer to cook. And then in this pan, I have a little bit of butter, like a tablespoon, maybe less. And then we'll add one of our confit tomatoes in here and a little bit of that olive oil. And then also you can grab some of that sliced garlic that we already cooked off. So we'll pull these out, throw them in here in our pan. Yum! That butter and oil with the water, when you simmer it like that, it all kind of emulsifies. All right, let's plate up these little beauties. You can add one of these whole tomatoes on there and a good drizzle of this oil. It's so delicious. And then ricotta salata. And then we'll pick some mint and basil. Tear this up. Black pepper. Flaky salt, of course. Let's taste one, see how we did. It smells incredible. Seriously, it's so delicious. It's super decadent from the confit tomato and the ricotta, but also really light. It's perfect. It's great. Delicious summer pasta. Love it.